Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. Sorry it's taken so long to get this one up. I've just been really busy lately, so kind of the vlogging has taken a little bit of a backseat. However, we have been thinking about the parks a lot over the past couple of weeks because we are going to Disneyland Paris next week, so we're really excited for that. We've been kind of keeping an eye on all the 25th anniversary goings on social media and YouTube, that kind of thing, but trying not to spoil it too much for ourselves, because we want to leave some of it to be sort of new and exciting when we get there, so can't wait for that. Also, we are looking at booking our trip for Florida, which will be next year, so it'll be about this time next year. So we've been looking at sort of where we want to stay, what we want to do while we're there. Yeah, so things are kind of really exciting on the Disney front at the minute. So on that note, I thought it'd be really fun just to do a quick countdown of our top parks that we visited. We've actually visited 8 of the Disney parks, so I'm going to do them in order from like worst to best. So yeah, just before I start as well, this is my opinion, so I'm sure some people will disagree with me, some people might agree with me, but that's fine. I don't mind if people disagree. These are, like I say, my personal opinions, but if you do have strong opinions on the subject and you do like different parks from what I like, please leave a comment in the comments below, and just let me know what you think. Let me know what your favourite attractions are, let me know what your favourite shows are, what your favourite parks are. So number 8 on the list is Walt Disney Studios in Paris. So I know I've just said like how excited I am to get to Disneyland Paris, but this, I don't know, this park just kind of, it falls a little bit short in terms of kind of that Disney feel for me. I think they've obviously gone in with quite a clear idea of what they want to achieve, and they've kind of gone in with that Hollywood Studios kind of vibe to begin with, but then as you kind of walk around the park, it does vary a lot in sort of quality of theming. So I mean, the first area that you come to is really cool. You walk into Studio One, which is kind of designed like an indoor set that's supposed to look like you're outdoors, which is quite cool. You've also got some of your classic attractions there. You've got Tower of Terror, you've got your Rock and Roller Coaster, and all those kind of rides that are quite familiar to people who go to Florida. So really, I mean, parts of the park have got no theming at all. Like for example, Rock and Roller Coaster, it just kind of looks like a warehouse with a really cheap sign stuck on the front of it, which is just bizarre. You've also got some kind of weird choices for attractions, such as the Armageddon special effects show. Now, I like the film Armageddon, but it is a 20-plus-year-old film, so the special effects in it are, you know, out of date now, completely out of date. Back in the days when they used to use, you know, like miniatures and all that kind of thing, and it was all like practical effects. Obviously now it's all CG, and it does make that seem very outdated, and I feel like they need to replace it with something new, something current that people are actually going to want to go and see. Some highlights are, though, Crush's Coaster is a really good ride. It kind of looks like a kid's ride, but it's not. Well, it is, but it's not. Because you kind of, the only way I can describe it is kind of Space Mountain, like the Florida version of Space Mountain, but you're kind of spinning you're spinning on the track as well, because you're actually sitting in a giant turtle shell, back to back with another couple, and you're constantly spinning as you're going around the track. So it's quite intense at times, and you do come off feeling a little bit dizzy, but it's still a cool ride, and the wait is always very long for that ride. Another highlight for me is the Ratatouille area, and I feel like the Ratatouille area would look really good in Epcot actually, and I think it'd work really well in the France pavilion. But yeah, Ratatouille is a really unique ride, and it's just really fun, and the theming of that part of the park is amazing. Less successful parts of the park are, for me, Toy Story Land. I think it's quite a small area and it's quite kiddified, and I think some of the rides, they just kind of look like off-the-shelf kind of fairground rides that they've just painted and themed to Toy Story, so we don't really bother too much with the park. But I think going forward now, Disney are obviously trying to acquire 100% ownership of Disneyland Paris, so hopefully at some point they will invest a lot more money into the Hollywood Studios park, Disney Studios park, and it would be really cool if we could get like a Star Wars expansion or perhaps a Marvel expansion. So maybe that's something that will happen in the future. So number 7 on my countdown is Hollywood Studios in Florida. So you might think that there's a bit of a theme going on here, but I think for me, Hollywood Studios is, at the moment especially, it's definitely a half-day park. There's obviously a lot closed due to construction on Toy Story Land and Star Wars Land. And I just feel like it's perhaps not got as much to do there as some of the other parks, but I do love it. I used to love going to watch the Indiana Jones stunt show when I was a kid, which actually I've not seen for years, and Craig has never seen it, so maybe when we're there next year I'll have to take him to see that. And I do think, obviously, when Star Wars and Toy Story are complete, this park will go up a lot higher on my list, but I just think for now there's not as much to keep me there as some of the other parks. Also, when we were there last time in August, I think Star Tours was down for refurb as well, which is like really annoying because that's like one of my favourite rides there. So not only was a lot of the other parts of the park closed, but then that was closed as well, which was just kind of like the final nail in the coffin, and I was just like, no, this is not happening, let's go. Yeah. So number 6 on my list is Animal Kingdom. I know this is quite controversial because it is a really popular park, but again, I think it's another half-day park for us. I think, even though it is actually Disney's biggest park that they own, I feel like a lot of it is just you're walking to get from one place to the other, and I feel like that takes up a lot of time. I don't actually think there are that many attractions there that we particularly like. Obviously, highlights include Expedition Everest, we love that. We've got the Cali River Rapids, which is awesome. Also, we love Dinosaur, such a great ride, so much fun. But again, that was down for refurbishment last time we were there, so it's another thing that we kind of missed out last time we were there, which is unfortunate. But I think maybe sort of going forward, obviously you've got Avatar Land opening very, very soon. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it starts going in soft openings anytime now. And then you've also got the nighttime show, so you've got Rivers of Light, and you've got the Tree of Life Awakening show, projection show, which looks really cool. So next time we're there, we'll definitely be checking those out. So number 5 is Disney California Adventure in California. When we went over to California last year, we had such a good time, and it was such a good park. It's not as big as some of the other parks, but they've really done a good job in bringing it up to speed. I know it got off to a shaky start when they first opened it in the early 2000s, but they've invested a lot of money since then to make it an amazing park. And I think one of the big highlights for us was Cars Land. It literally was like walking onto the set of Cars the movie. Obviously, there isn't a set for Cars the movie because it's a CG film, so there is no set, but you know what I mean. It's like walking into that world. The forced perspective was amazing. It really made you feel like you were in like a big canyon. The attention to detail was just great. And obviously Radiator Springs Racers, the ride, was absolutely mind-blowing. It was so good, and it's possibly one of the best rides that Disney have ever done. So it's definitely worth the sort of like hour and a half wait that we waited for it. There's also some other great things there. You've got classic rides like Tower of Terror. Well, actually, no, scrap that, because it's not going to be Tower of Terror. It's obviously Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which is soon to open. You've also got Soarin'. You've got some great rides there like Mickey's Fun Wheel, which I am terrified of heights, so that was not good for me. But luckily we were in there with a really lovely American couple. We shared like a cab with them, and so it was really nice because they were just kind of like chatting away, and it was kind of distracting me from what was going on around me, which was very good. Also, the World of Colour show that they do at night is just amazing. I love it. It's so great to watch. And they were doing the special 60th anniversary version while we were there, which was really cool. So something different. Yeah. So number 4 on my list is Epcot. Now, Epcot holds a lot of nostalgia for me because I obviously started going to Disney World when I was 8 years old, and that was kind of the second park that my parents took me to. And I just really loved it, and I think at the time it was very different from how it is now, so I think I kind of have a lot of memories of like how it was then. I know sort of over the years, I know people have now got kind of quite a low opinion of Epcot. I think it's not always the best or the most fun park for kids, which I completely get because there's not as many rides there. You know, there's a lot of things that aren't there anymore, there's a lot of pavilions that have closed down that are empty, but I still love it. I think sort of the whole atmosphere of World Showcase is fantastic, and I think also, you know, they've got some great rides. I know they've just put Frozen Ever After in there, which I don't care that I had to wait like nearly 2 hours for it. It was amazing. It was such a good ride. And to be honest, I didn't really like Maelstrom, so I always thought it was just like a bit weird. So I wasn't too sad to see that go. But you know, if Disney do want to go down this whole road of sort of putting movie properties into Epcot, that's fine with me. I know some people have a problem with that, but I think as long as it fits the theme in, you know, like I say, Ratatouille would work really well in the France pavilion. I think it would go well with the theme in. They could perhaps do like a Big Hero 6 thing in Japan. I don't know. I think that's something that they could definitely do to boost attendance and get sort of kids more excited for Epcot. I also love some of the classic attractions like Spaceship Earth. I know it's really cheesy and Craig hates it, but I still make him go on it anyway because I just love it. I just think it's really cool, and it's good because you can just kind of sit down and it's in the dark and it's in the aircon, which is always good when you're in that Florida heat. And also shopping is like, I love the Mouse Gear store in Epcot. It's one of my favourite Disney stores ever. I love it, and it's huge, and I literally spent hours in there. And you know, there's nothing better than being there at night as well. I think the illumination show is great, and also seeing Spaceship Earth all lit up at night in sort of like the pinks and the purples and the blues just looks really great, and I can never take enough photos of that. I love it. So number 3 on my countdown is Disneyland Paris. Now I think Disneyland Paris over the years has got a bit of a bad reputation. I know when I first went, I'd already been to Florida, and I think if you go to Florida and then you go to Paris expecting the same thing, you're going to be disappointed. But I think over the past few years, I've really kind of gained an appreciation for Disneyland Paris as its own park, and it is very unique in a lot of ways, so you have to kind of go with a very open mind and think of it as its own park, even though it is modelled after Disneyland in California and Magic Kingdom. I think probably one of the big things that really sets it aside from the other parks to me is the castle. It's such an amazing castle, and it really does just look like it's come straight off the film screen of Sleeping Beauty. It's so well designed and it's so beautiful when it's lit up at night. The castle projection and fireworks show is just amazing. It's actually one of the best that Disney do. Not only do they have the projections onto the castle, but they also have the fireworks. They have dancing fountains in front of the castle as well, going off at the same time. They have flame effects. It's a really, really, really good show. Obviously, I've yet to see the new Disney Illumination show for the 25th anniversary. I've been trying to avoid that on YouTube just because I want it to be new and special when we actually see it in person. So I'll let you know my thoughts on that one next week. Yeah, I mean, there's some other variations on classic rides. Pirates of the Caribbean, it's slightly different, but still it's the same great attraction. You've got your Big Thunder Mountain, you've got your Space Mountain Mission 2. Now, Mission 2, if you've only ever been to the one in Florida and you've been on that ride, or California, Mission 2 in Paris is a very, very, very different ride. It's very intense, it's a lot faster, it does go upside down several times, so it is a lot more hardcore than the ones over in the States. So just be warned if you're planning on going on it and you've never been on it before. They don't have Tomorrowland as such, it's called Discoveryland, and it's more or less the same thing, but it's styled to like a steampunk sort of Victorian style version of the future, rather than the kind of retro 50s kind of sci-fi version that they have over in America. Phantom Manor instead of the Haunted Mansion. Phantom Manor is a great ride. Again, it is Haunted Mansion, but it's slightly different. There's a bit of a different storyline in there. It's kind of tied in with Thunder Mesa and Big Thunder Mountain, and that kind of Wild West kind of ghost town theme, which is quite cool, and it does make it very unique. But yeah, Disneyland Paris, it's just a great park, and like I say, it's a great time to go this year because there's so much happening, new parades, new shows, and I think now that Disney are trying to take 100% ownership again, that we will see sort of massive changes over the next few years, and I think hopefully Disney will pump a lot more money into it and bring it up to the standard of the American parks. So, number 2 on my countdown. Now, this is going to be slightly controversial, so please don't send me hate mail for this one. But my number 2 is actually going to be Magic Kingdom Park at Walt Disney World in Florida. Now, for years and years and years, I thought, Walt Disney World was the best place ever. Nowhere could beat it. I've been going there since I was a child, so a lot of nostalgia, a lot of great memories, and there's nothing quite as exciting as getting on the ferry or the monorail at the Ticket and Transportation Centre and getting closer and closer, and you can sort of see the castle in the distance, and you can see Space Mountain. Really excited, love that feeling, and also like the smells and everything as you're walking in, the smell of like the bacon, and I just love it. Just the music and the atmosphere, great. It is kind of like Disneyland on steroids, so everything is bigger, which is a good thing. It does obviously mean that it's a lot bigger park to get around, but they do have some amazing unique attractions there. They have New Fantasyland with obviously Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and a few other areas that are completely unique to that park, which does make it really special. I think one thing that has changed a lot over the years for me as a Magic Kingdom fan is the introduction of FastPass Plus. I feel a little bit like everybody is like got everything planned down to a T. You've got your fast passes, you've got your dining reservations, you've got everything planned in, and I think it's kind of led to this culture where people are just rushing to get to whatever they want to do next, which you can understand because a lot of people are there and it's a once in a lifetime trip, or they're there once a year or once every 2 years, so when they're there they do want to get everything done that they want to see and do. It kind of takes a little bit of the enjoyment and the magic out of it slightly, I think, and I'm not saying that I don't love it, because I do, just because it's my number 2 and not my number 1. So on to my number 1. So obviously then my number 1 is going to be Disneyland in California. Now, we'd never been to this park until last April. We only got a 2-day ticket because we were in California for about 10 days. But while we were there, we wanted to do lots of other things in the area, and to us it was a case of, well, let's get as much done now because we're never going to go over that side of the world again because it's really far away, it's quite expensive. However, we didn't realise the sort of impact that Disneyland was going to have on us, and I think especially for me, being a massive Disney nerd, and I love like the history of the Disney company, Walt Disney himself, and I just find it all really fascinating, and you can kind of feel I don't know, it's kind of got a different atmosphere to it, and I think because it was Walt's park, and I think that made it extra special, and to know that he was there and that he helped design it and he oversaw it, it was really special, and it was kind of a little bit emotional as well. Now, of course, while we were there, it was the Diamond Celebration 60th anniversary, which made a big difference, I think, because there was some really special things going off. They had the Paint the Night Parade, which is, in my opinion, the best Disney parade ever. Like, nothing could ever beat it, and it's such a shame that they've stopped doing it. They also had the Disneyland Forever fireworks show, which was absolutely mind-blowing. And it was really weird. It was such an emotional experience. There was, not only are they projecting onto the castle and they've got the fireworks, but they've also got projections all the way down Main Street as well. So wherever you turn, you're surrounded by projections and things going on, and things popping up and down on the roofs of the buildings on Main Street. It was so good, and they really got the music and kind of the emotion right. They had. People were dancing when the upbeat songs came on, like Jungle Book and Lion King, that kind of thing. And then when the slow songs came on, like Let It Go and At Last I See the Light from Tangled, people were crying, hugging each other. It was such an emotional experience, and you can't even describe it. And again, real shame that they've stopped doing it, but apparently it cost them like an absolute fortune to do every night. So I'm not surprised that they did stop it, and I think they put the old show that they used to have back, which is like less expensive to do. One of the other things that I really like about Disneyland is how green it is. I mean, I remember as a kid going to Magic Kingdom how you know, there was lots of trees and that kind of thing, but over the years they've kind of got rid of them, and especially like around the hub area, to me it feels quite bare, whereas at Disneyland they've got all the trees down Main Street in the hub, and it makes it feel a lot nicer, obviously a lot greener. Other things that I love about Disneyland are the unique attractions. They've still got things like they've got Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, it's still there. They've got the Finding Nemo attraction, which used to be 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, submarine voyage, which they used to have at Magic Kingdom, but they got rid of to build New Fantasyland. Also, they've got Snow White still. Also, their version of Pirates of the Caribbean is amazing. It's really good. Again, it's essentially the same ride, but some of the scenes are just in a bit of a different order, and it feels longer. I don't know whether it is or not, but it feels like a longer attraction. Yeah, so that's why I love Disneyland above all the others, and hopefully we're going to get there again as soon as possible. I mean, it obviously all depends on money and that kind of thing. So yeah, watch this space for that. Okay, so that's it then. Like I said, please leave comments below if you've got any opinions either way on the parks. Get in touch, follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and please subscribe if you want to see the videos from Disneyland Paris next week. We're really looking forward to that, and we can't wait to get there and show everybody all the things that are happening for the 25th anniversary. There'll also be lots of shopping. I'm going to hopefully do like a massive haul video when we come back. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks guys.